Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is campaigning in South Carolina today ahead of the GOP primary there. But she faces a steep climb in her home state, where former President Trump holds a 35-point advantage, according to a CBS News poll. Meanwhile, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives is up for grabs as voters head to the polls for a special election in the Philadelphia suburbs. Caitlin Huey-Burns and Aaron Navarro join us now. Caitlin is CBS News' political correspondent, and Aaron is a CBS News campaign reporter. Caitlin, let's start with you. Haley has a lot of ground to cover against the former president in South Carolina. Talk to us about what her strategy is to try to win.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Recha. That poll that you mentioned, that 35-point lead, Nikki Haley is the hometown candidate here, but those numbers look like Donald Trump is the favorite son, leading by 35 points. And when you dig down into those numbers, you see that more voters here care more about national issues compared to local ones. So what she has been trying to do here in South Carolina with a bus tour that she's embarked on, that she's on today, is remind voters of what her policies were when she was governor, and also arguing to turn the page from the chaos of Donald Trump. The big challenge, though, however, is that a lot of voters here like Donald Trump. So in almost all of her stump speeches, she says, look, I voted for Donald Trump twice. I served in his administration, but things are different now. And voters that we talk to that are coming to her events that are inclined to support her are inclined to that message. But she still has a lot of work to do to convince those who are favorable to Trump. What she said to me yesterday as we sat down on her campaign bus, I asked her if she was prepared to take this all the way to the convention, and she said she wants a strong showing in South Carolina. They're not saying that they're going to win by any means, but closing the gap here would be considered a victory to them, then moving on to Michigan and then those Super Tuesday states. So she has argued that she doesn't want to make this the longest general election in history with Donald Trump as the nominee, so she's fighting at least till Super Tuesday.
She is also trying to make age a factor, pointing out that she is decades younger than both Trump and Biden. Aaron, you're in a competitive county in Pennsylvania that Democrats have done well in. But I wonder what Democratic voters there are saying about President Biden's age.
Hello from Bucks County. This is a place and county where Biden won by just under 5 points in 2020, and is part of those Philly suburbs that the Biden campaign told me today will be high on their priority list here in Pennsylvania that they have to do well in. But from talking to Democratic voters that came out for this state house special election, I get the sense while age is a factor for this small snapshot of voters, making sure that former President Trump, Biden's likely general election opponent, does not win is also a big factor. Take a listen to some of the voices I heard from today.
It's not a big factor because, I agree with his policies more, so I'd just like to eventually see more younger people.
Assuming that there is he had a couple miles an hour taken off his fastball, that may very well be, but at the end of the day, I can't see where it affected any policy decisions.
I think people understand that the president is older. Of course, his likely opponent is also. And so I think at the end of the day, the other issues that we've been talking about transcend that.
So that last voice you heard there was the Democratic Party chair here in Bucks County, and kind of matches some of the sentiment I've been getting from Democratic voters here, that age is a factor, but the alternative to Biden is still heavy on Democratic voters' minds.
Caitlin, I want to ask you about a slew of endorsements that the former President Trump recently made to lead the Republican National Committee. What can you tell us, and what does it tell us about the future of the RNC?
Yeah, Donald Trump is certainly trying to kind of seal his grip on the Republican Party with these endorsements for RNC chair. He is endorsing his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, to be a co-chair of the RNC, and also tapping to be another co-chair, the chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party, who has echoed Donald Trump's false claims about the 2020 election and false claims that it was fraudulent. And he's also tasking one of his his top campaign advisors, Chris LaCivita, to join the RNC in a dual role, also as kind of the chief operating officer, working on the campaign and the RNC. Now, this is an effort by Trump to really, fill the RNC with those who are loyal to him. And he has complained about Ronna McDaniel, who's expected to step down after the South Carolina primary. And he's also pointed to ways in which the RNC has really struggled in fundraising. But this is just the latest sign yet that this is a party that has coalesced around the former president. And what was really important for his campaign is that he did this at the state level, too. And that really influenced the delegate allocation rules in places like Nevada and California and others.
And we have seen time and time again the former president reward his supporters and punish his detractors. Caitlin Huey-Burns and Aaron Navarro, thank you so much.